The fuck is going on here? What? Why is it doing that? Oh, there we go. That was bizarre. Camera was turned off? Yeah, I'm gonna do a show with the camera turned off. Why would I do that? I know everybody just wants to see me really bad. They're just like, oh, we can't see him? Oh, well, fuck this. Maybe I'll do that on days when I'm feeling insecure, which is never. Sounds about right. Hey, Rebecca Lynn. Nice to see you. I'm going to play a song I've been working on. It's called Traveling. Traveling. And no, not like I'm a traveling man, like a Freemason or some shit. No. I wrote this song long before I ever even knew about any of that shit. The song is called Traveling. Little disclaimer there. And I'll tell you why I wrote a song called Traveling. Because a long time ago, my dad gave me a National guitar, but it wasn't made from metal like the classical National guitar that you might know about. National guitars are typically made of metal. And like Paul Simon's lyrics, shining like the Mississippi Delta, shining like a National guitar, because they were metal, you know. Anyways, I had a National guitar. It was stolen from me later, but whatever. I had a National guitar that was made of wood. It was like a collector's item. This thing was fucking awesome. And it was a beautiful guitar. My dad gave it to me. It was gifted to him from my grandfather. And so he gave it to me, and it came with a case that said Travelers 3 on it. I guess that was the name of the group maybe that was playing it at one point. And my dad was all, here, I'll give you this guitar, but you have to write a song about Travelers 3. Or he made some wisecrack about it. And I was like, okay. And I started writing a song called Traveling. And it was right at a time when I was I was moving from one place to another place. I was moving out of a house, and I had broken up with this girl I'd been with for a couple of years, so I was getting a new house, and I had a new car I just bought, a Jeep, you know, and I was all like trying to make, you know, start a clean slate, and I was in the right headspace to write a song called Traveling, and I wrote the lyrics down, and then I forgot about it. And maybe like a couple years later, I found the lyrics again, and a bunch of stuff had changed. I was living in a different place, but I wrote the song right there on the spot because I found the lyrics. I'm like, oh, cool. Well, I just need to write a song to go along with these lyrics, and I did right then, and I just spit it out, and that became the song, and it was like sort of poignant. I don't know what the word is. It was just kind of like a song that seemed like it was a song already. I don't know how to put it. It was like I pulled it out of the ether. It was already there. I didn't even write it. It felt like. So, there. That's the history of this song. I've been playing it a bunch of different ways over the years, though. Like as far as how the rhythm has changed. But it goes like this. Right now it goes like this. Let's see. No. lot better than that, trust me. Someplace that I got to go, somewhere far away from you, far from anyone that we both know. It's just time to start again. Let go and get my grip, back in touch with what's in front, what's in front of me. I got to pull myself together now. Someone that I have to be. Hell and back didn't seem like that far, but it was far enough for me. I never will forget the things that at the time I didn't even see. Now it's all just as plain as day to me. I will lose myself and find everyone else, tie it all together. All right, these wind chimes gotta stop. Okay, that's enough out of you. That's all for now. Well, you were back to me when it's I'm like, why does it sound so out of tune? Well, maybe the fucking millions of tones that are playing all haphazardly in the background, that might be fucking with me a little bit. See, I will lose myself, find everyone, try to tie it all together and make sense of it all. I got to tie it together now. Tie it together now. I got to tie it all together. See, this part has to have backup singers. Tie it together, tie it together, tie it together, tie it all together. Got to tie it all together and make sense of my life and try keeping it together. I feel like we all could be a lot more satisfied with the way we live around each other. People, you know you got to travel sometimes to figure out if you're alright. I see you on the other side. Yeah, so long, goodbye, I'm gone, baby. I just got to move on. No, I got to sing that wrong. So long, goodbye, I'm gone, baby. I just got to move on. I don't know how to sing that part. I got to move on. So long, goodbye, I'm gone, baby. I just got to move on. I got to keep on traveling. Keep on traveling. Someplace that I got to go. Somewhere far away from you. Apart from anyone that we both know. It's just time to start again. Let go and get my grip. I'm back in touch with what's in front. Oh, what's in front of me? I will. No, I see. I got to pull myself together. Someone that I have to be. Hell and back didn't seem like that far, but it was far enough for me. I never will forget the things that at the time I didn't even see. And now it's all just as plain as day to me. I will lose myself and find everyone else, sounds like shit. The song has potential. I've played it before and it sounded really good. Just trust me. I will lose, I will lose myself and find everyone else and try to tie it all together. I got to tie it all together. I got to tie it together now. Tie it together. Tie it together now. Tie it together. Tie it all together. I got to tie it all together and make sense of my life and try keeping it together. 'Cause I feel like we all could be a lot more satisfied with the way we live around each other. People you know, no, people you know, you got to travel sometimes to figure out if you're alright. But I'll see you on the other side. Yeah, yeah, so long, goodbye, I'm gone, baby. I just got to move on. I got to keep on traveling. I'll see you on the other side. Yeah, yeah, so long, goodbye, I'm gone, baby. I just got to move on. I got to keep on singing this traveling song. Every time that wheel goes round, you know you're bound to cover just a little more ground. Can't go back and you can't stand still. If the thunder don't get you, then the lightning will. Sorry, sometimes I just gotta rip off some Grateful Dead. Wheel is turning, you can't slow down. You can't go back and you can't stand still. If the thunder don't get you, then the lightning will. I forget how that song goes. Big wheel turned by the grace of God. The small wheel turned by the fire and rod. The big wheel turned by the grace of God. Every time that wheel turns around, you're bound to cover just a little more ground. The wheel is turning and you can't slow down. Last time I saw Phil Lesh and friends play, they covered that song, or they played that song. It's a Grateful Dead song. Phil Lesh had put together the best band. I couldn't fucking believe it when I saw him play at the Warfield. It's probably like 2 or 3 years ago now. Phil Lesh has died since, but like, he's gratefully dead now. But they had the best band. I could not believe what he had done. It was so amazing. I was so glad I caught that show. It was so epic. Because he had made like this band. It was just like the best of all these, you know, guitar players, singers, and drummers, and keyboards, and he had these backup vocal, like these gospel backup singers, and it was just fucking righteous. And they played the Grateful Dead music, like every Deadhead became, you know, the Grateful Dead's little shortcomings became these charming things once you become a Deadhead, you know, once you realize what is really awesome about the band. Their shortcomings become like charming, and you don't, it doesn't piss you off or sound like shit to you anymore. It's kind of like, it's charming, you know, and they do have their moment where they're just like on fire. It doesn't happen that often, but when it does happen, it's magic. And if you ever catch it, you know, it's like, it's the closest thing to magic that I've ever seen happen. And it's like, you know, combined with psychedelic drugs, I mean, it takes you to the next level. I mean, I was a tour kid. I was following the Grateful Dead around when they were still a band. I'm that old. And And so I happened to catch a couple of shows like that where, I mean, I've seen like 100 plus shows, you know, but I've only seen like 2 or 3 shows that were really just like, that just changed my reality, because it's just like something happened that was magic, and there's no way to explain it. Talk to any Grateful Dead head that's like certified Grateful Dead head, and they'll tell you the same thing. There's something that happens. It was this chemistry thing. It was, you know, and psychedelics helped. But what was I going to say? Oh, so we all have this idea of each Grateful Dead song, how it's supposed to sound. You know, it just the the you know, the epitome of this song, where it's just like in all its golden purity. Because they play this. I mean, every time they play a show, they play it a little bit different, and it's like they're improvising within a framework, and that's what was so fun about the music. It was like it was free. It was like it had this idea of freedom kind of built into it, and so every show was different, you know, and the songs would evolve over the years. You could listen to a version of China Cat Sunflower from 1970, and then compare it to how it sounded in 1992 or something, and be like, wow, they've you heard the band mature over the years, and it became this really. I mean, it was just awesome from the gate. But like what Phil Lesh had done with the last show that I saw, he'd put together this band that was just so good at what they did, and they knew the Grateful Dead music so well, and they played each song perfectly. Like the vocals were fucking phenomenal. I mean, just like harmonies, just perfectly. Everything was just in tune and just sounded fucking perfect. And they jammed too. They were, it was incredible. I was like, this is like the epitome of the Grateful Dead music. This is how it's supposed to sound. This is like how it sounds in your dreams. You can tell I'm a deadhead. But like Phil Lesh, you know, he wasn't really known for his vocals being all that great. You know, he would, but he was like, you know, he was one of these guys. Like in the Grateful Dead, they took turns singing. You know, Jerry Garcia would sing, and then Bob Weir would sing, and they'd go back and forth. But then every once in a while, Phil Lesh would come in and sing. He's the bass player, and Bob Weir is the other guitar player. Jerry was like the lead guitar player, or whatever. But so Phil Lesh was, he was kind of like, whenever you saw a show that Phil Lesh sang a song in, it was kind of a treat because he doesn't always sing. And so it was just fun watching Phil Lesh be like the lead man in the band, you know, because it was kind of a new thing for me. And he had aged so well. Like he looked like he was wearing this like the classic Jerry Garcia hat, like the Merry Pranksters, like the old posters from the back in the '70s. He was wearing that hat, like the big black top hat. It's all like disco, like all crazy '60s style. And he just looked like just the poster child of like the hate Ashbury, the hippie scene. Like he was just he'd become this iconic like archetype of sorts. Like he'd finally reached that level of just like this man here. Like he was just such an epic entity. The Grateful Dead were so amazing, and such an under like as far as the mainstream is concerned, they made it to the mainstream, and the shit that was on the mainstream didn't represent them, you know, how they should have been represented, really. So people think they're like dorky or like fucking washed up or something, or I don't know, but it wasn't the case. I mean, once you got into it, you realize there was some serious like soul going on there. I mean, it was like a whole world in itself. Like when you go on the Grateful Dead tour, you're following them around from city to city, and there's like thousands, tens of thousands of people following them with you, you know. And so every city you get to, you just kind of take over the place, and it's it's just like you live by your own rules. I mean, and the city would let you do it. When the city was like aware the Grateful Dead was coming to town, and it's like they told the cops to just kind of chill out, you know, because it's like strength in numbers. I mean, you can I don't know if you can even picture it how it is, but it's like the Grateful Dead would come to town, and the whole town would become just like overrun with hippies and just like, you know, people doing drugs out in public, and just, you know, naked people, just it's just crazy shit going on. It was like Woodstock or whatever, you know. But but you wouldn't see like a lot of people getting in trouble. It was mostly a peaceful thing, you know. And some cities outlawed the Grateful Dead to come through. I only followed them on the West Coast, but they toured all over the whole country. They were touring the whole time they were a band. They were like a band for 30 some odd years. They toured the entire fucking time. They took 1 year off, the year I was born, 1975. They played a couple shows, but that was just the only year that they took off. Yeah, I know every Grateful Dead song. It was fun. You can't turn magic mainstream. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's a good quote right there. I remember that one. Can't turn magic mainstream. Shout out to Mental Raccoon Glass. Why don't you have a wrench yet? You're part of the cool crowd already. What are you doing in here all naked like that? There you go. Let's see. People think that AI is going to be like sentient. Here's the thing with computers. It's like I say this all the time. Is if you want to understand a computer, it's pretty simple. I took basic computer programming when computers first hit the scene back in like I was in junior high and I was in seventh grade. I was in seventh grade and I was taking basic computer programming. I think it was seventh or eighth grade. I was in junior high, and the Apple II had just come out, and it was like this, the big monitor, and it was like basic shit back in the day. But it was like back in the day, it was all it was like cutting edge or whatever. But I was learning programming, and it's so easy to understand. It's just if this then that. That's all you have to know to understand computers. And it's gotten, because I mean, there's a lot of ifs and there's a lot of then that's, So there's a lot of ifs and a lot of that's. But that's what it boils down to. It's just input, output, ones and zeros. It's binary. I mean, it's like even now, still today, with AI and all the algorithms and all this fucking crazy shit, it's still just if this, then that. I mean, it's never going to be anything but that. I don't see where along the line with if this, then that, input, output, where along the line you get this sentient creature that's like got a mind of its own, and it's just, I suppose you could imitate that. I mean, to the extent where it might fool, like, these skin jobs or whatever. It looks like a person, acts like a person, thinks it's a person, but it's just a computer program. I mean, at a certain point, it would become difficult to tell from the real thing, which is a sad reality. I mean, but that's the direction it's going. But I don't think you can ever make the argument that it actually is sentient because it's built within a parameter. It's like basically if you think you're God, then I guess I don't know. I like making people the old-fashioned way. You know what I mean? It's like that's sentient, and it's just a lot more fun, wholesome. Hey, I know what AI is. Hey, I know what AI is. Hey, I know what AI is. AI is just an eye up in the sky. It's going to spy on you and I and everyone in society. Say goodbye to your privacy. Yeah, it's the most realistic shit you're going to get, but it's still fake shit. Don't mistake it for being real. It's not alive. I teach it how to walk, how to talk, how to pick a lock, and how to read your mind. Teach it how to jump rope, how to cook dope, how to tell a joke, but it don't understand the punchline. Teach it how to repeat shit, but can it keep a secret? I don't think so. It won't know why. It won't know why. Hey, I know what AI is. Hey, I know what AI is. It's an algorithmic gimmick, been given no limit. Goes all the way out, around, and then back in it. The official, artificial, digital idolatry. That's really all that it could be to call it. Intelligent is intellectual dishonesty. You can teach it how to play Tetris and chess and checkers and tic-tac-toe. Teach it how to look like it's teaching itself. myself, hey, look at that shit go. Well, teach it that there's nothing new that can be done. Nothing new that exists under the sun. Hey, I know what AI is. Hey, I know what AI is. Hey, I know what AI is. AI is just an eye up in the sky. It's going to spy on you and I and everyone in society. Say goodbye to your privacy and your job. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like it's a tool. Like, it's never going to be like a person. I mean, you can try to like figure out the majority of the variables involved in a person's daily thought process, and then just try to account for all that, and but it's never going to have like that's the thing, they just will never understand life to the extent that they want to. They'll never understand how to make a soul in any other way except for the old fashioned way. Oh, did I fucking blow it? I forget to turn my fucking Wi-Fi off. Oh, it's off. Okay, cool. So my show's probably still live. My phone will opt to go on the Wi-Fi here at the house, which is all spotty with my iPhone. I used to have a fucking Android and it worked fine everywhere with the Wi-Fi or whatever. But now my iPhone doesn't seem to pick up on the Wi-Fi that well, and so it's all spotty. And I try not to have it on the Wi-Fi because I have internet on my phone, and it's fine. I get internet anywhere on my phone, but it'll opt to go with the shittier signal, and then my shit will be all fucked up. That's how smart AI is. It like sabotages you. Yeah, I don't think that AI can ever really be considered sentient. And if you ever hear anybody saying that, they need to go touch some grass. Well, yeah, the basic principles of the known universe. I mean, it's like we have so many fairy tales with all that. I mean, that's what's going to be interesting, really, is like to see how AI is going to actually interpret the world, you know, objectively. I mean, because there's a lot of things like the way our world is defined to us. I mean, it's a lot of it is unverifiable, and I don't know what an AI would actually do in that instance. I think it would just say, well, this is not verifiable, so I can't call it true. You know, the AI would be like, well, we're spinning at this Earth is rotating around the sun at this rate, and this, but we can't really detect that motion. It's all done by observation of the sky, and so it's not really actually verified. We can use NASA footage of the space, but this is all botched fucking like Photoshop garbage. I mean, the AI will pick up on that shit right quick, dude. I mean, dude, it's just the fact that like a lot of the stuff that's supposed to be like true, the people that went about trying to prove that to us failed badly. I mean, if it is true, well, why did they fail so badly? Because it's my opinion that if you believe that lunar lander actually landed on the moon, well, maybe you just haven't looked close enough at the thing or just thought about the logistics of it. I mean, it's the story becomes so fucked up, and people will argue for it all day long as if it was true. And including the people that went on the trip. I mean, there was a video recently I watched with Bart Sibrel, the guy who made the movie Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon, and he'll tell you, he's a firm, like he's like, it didn't happen. They didn't go to the moon, and he was on a show with an astronaut that walked on the moon, Chuck Duke, and it was pretty embarrassing, really, because in my opinion, Bart Sibrel was bringing perfectly good arguments to the table, and the guy who was supposedly the moonwalker guy, all he could say was that I went to the moon, I brought back moon rocks, and he's like, "What is this discussion about?" He was acting all like clueless, and I don't know. He just wasn't making any good points. He wasn't defending his 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 situation very well. I mean, he wasn't bringing like anything to the table. Like Bart was basically debunking the moon landing in real time with this guy, and he was just like, "Wow, why are we talking about this? We went to the moon." And like the host was like, "Well, according to Bart, you didn't go to the moon." And, what do you mean? It was kind of awkward and embarrassing, but it really did kind of put things in perspective, because if that's who we have, like if that's the only person who's actually seen outer space and the Earth flying around the sun and all that, it's like we got to count on that guy to bring us the truth. There's only so many people that have actually seen that. Everybody else just believes it. They don't really go see it themselves. Because when I think about it, it's hard to believe that the Earth is actually suspended in emptiness. Like the Earth is a big place. Like, and it's just like we've been so programmed to think that's what's going on. Earth is just floating or whatever. It's falling through a vacuum or this endless void, okay, or whatever. I mean, but really, I mean, like it's such a grandiose claim. I would have to see that to truly say that I believe it to be true. And like I don't see that. What I see is just what everybody else sees. I mean, we're not exactly witnessing Earth as a ball flying through space. I mean, we do see the stars, and the sky does match the globe model impeccably. I mean, it's quite impressive. I mean, whoever I can see why people would argue for the globe model. It's really brilliant. I mean, it's not like some scrapped together fucking crazy idea. It actually it's pretty fucking impressive. I mean, because you have to be like ready to dive in. I mean, because a lot of this stuff. I mean, it is pretty mind crunching when you realize how much work has been put into this, and like with the analemma, that shit trips me out, man. The analemma and ephemeral. The analemma is the sun's path throughout the course of the year. You go out every day and you take note of where the sun's at a specific time every day, and for a full year, and you'll get the shape of a figure eight in the sky. And the bigger loop is going to be in the direction, like it's a figure eight is a small loop and a bigger loop. And so it's like the bigger loop's going to be like if you're in the north, you're going to see the bigger loop in the south, or if you're in the south, you're going to see the bigger loop in the north. And at the equator, you're going to see like an infinity symbol. It's like equal on both sides, the equator. And the analemma is location dependent. I mean, you're going to see a different version of the analemma anywhere you go. I mean, because what we have is like a dual polar sky where there's like 24-hour sun, you know, right there, and then there's a 24-hour sun on the other end of the Earth. It's like this. It matches the globe model great. I mean, but here's the thing, though. I don't think you would see if you're on a spinning ball, spinning in one direction. I don't think you could go to a place and see star trails diverge in two different directions. I don't know if that's what you would see. I don't. It seems like somebody must have simulated that by now, because there is a place you can go to. You can go to the equator and just maybe close to the equator, and you can see the star trails diverge in two different. I've seen footage of it. I mean, I'm assuming that's what you can see, and so they're diverging in two different directions. Could you stand on one thing that's spinning in one direction and see things, trails, the stuff going by you as you're spinning? Would you see things curving off in two different directions? That doesn't seem like it makes any sense to me. I think about it. I mean, Of course, I've talked about this with these globe people that argue for the globe, and they say, "Oh no, it's all been modeled perfectly." Like, okay, but like, I just think about it. I'm trying to think about it logically. Like, how does that make any sense? I'd have to experience it. We don't have anything to compare it against. Like, someone's got to simulate that or something. And they say they've modeled it, but I don't think it's actually. I've never seen a simulation of how that would be. I mean, I would have to like. There's got to be some way to do that, where you put a camera on something that's spinning and see if the lights that are being leaving trails as you're spinning, to see if there's possible to be located somewhere on this spinning thing and see the trails of the lights going by diverging in two different directions. I don't think that's what you would see. That's just wild. I mean, basically, what we're experiencing is a planar Earth with dual polar sky. I mean, it's like the Earth is supposed to be curving into a big ball, but like when people have gone to try to find the curvature, by like long distance observations, they find that they can see things. I mean, the silhouette of Mount Canigou can be seen from like 250 miles away at certain times a year. The silhouette. You can't explain that away with refraction because it's an absence of light. Refraction is light, being lifting or falling, or just like the images being fucked up because of the light, but like a silhouette isn't light refracting. That's the absence of light. A silhouette can be seen from 250 miles away. That should be hidden by like like thousands of feet of curvature. So I mean, and then there's people that, I mean, this happened a long time ago. Someone fucking took a laser beam and shone it over a frozen lake for 40 miles, and it hit the target. So 40 miles, this thing was parallel with a frozen lake. There was not a speck of curvature. And 40 miles, there should be some curvature. Yeah, definitely should be. But they didn't find it, and so people want to say, oh, well, the gravity's bending it, but it doesn't look bent. But it's like, well, come on, man. Like, you either trust your eyes or you don't. That's the thing that's such a headfuck about this, is because the globe model really does match the sky well. I mean, it really does. But when you come and try to find any proof that the Earth is spinning, or detect any of that motion, or like find any curvature, that's when it gets difficult. Like when you're looking at the sky, you can start making all these grandiose claims about what's going on. But like when it comes to actually proving it down here on the Earth, that's when it gets tricky. Well, we can't detect the motion because it's so gradual and it's constant, but it's not constant because it's an elliptical orbit, so it does have to slow down and speed up, but it's just so gradual you don't notice it. I don't know, man. It starts to sound kind of fishy to me. It starts to sound kind of like excuses versus science, in my humble opinion. But I never want to shake a stick at the globe model because I think it's quite impressive. I like the tilt. They say the Earth is tilted. I mean, it's crazy too when you think about it. But if something is spinning and it's facing something like the sun, and you're on a ball that's spinning, but if it's tilted away from that thing a little bit, well, the axis, if it's tilted, like it's gonna wobble a little bit, and so that's how they explain the seasons, because we're not having like we're not pointing right at the sun. We're tilted away from it, and otherwise the sun would just be sitting in one spot at the pole, just sitting in one spot in the sky for like the whole time, I guess. No, because we're orbiting, so it would be like half the year. That's so weird to think about that shit. It's weird to think that the sky can be modeled on over a globe Earth in such a good way, like in such a really impressive way, but then the Earth can't really be proven to be globular from down here on the ground. That's strange. And so that's why you see these guys making excuses. Oh, well, refraction makes it so it looks like it's flat. Uh, I think you just like want to hang on to this globe model idea because it seems so good. It seems so like accurate. at explaining what we see in the sky. But like, think about it. If we didn't have the sky, which is crazy to think about, but if it wouldn't, nobody would ever have thought that. I mean, obviously, without the sky, we'd all be dead. There wouldn't be night and day and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's like it's the sky is like part, it's half of our reality or whatever. And so you want to be able to explain things, and that's what they've come up with for an explanation of what we see in the sky is that we're living on a ball that's spinning and orbiting around the sun at these ungodly speeds from 93 million miles away, while it appears to be a perfectly stationary, level, planar Earth. And the curvature cannot be found, and the motion cannot be detected. Now, this is when I like to get into the uprising Earth conversation, because there's flat earthers that believe the Earth is rising, and they believe they can prove that by physics. And it took me a while to understand what that argument was, because I thought it was crazy. But now I understand it, and it makes sense now, actually, to me, because when you add a force like acceleration, they say there's downward acceleration. That's what we experience with gravity. And that's what it looks like we're experiencing. We feel like we're pulled down to the ground or whatever, we're held against the ground. But like if you were to add a force to any other situation, like acceleration, like think about when you're in your car, you step on the gas pedal. When you add acceleration to a reference frame, you create a density gradient or a pressure gradient because of the acceleration. Like when you step on the gas pedal, you're pulled into your seat. You're dense. Anything that's dense is going to be pushed in the direction that the force is coming from. If the force is coming from behind you, it's pushing you forward. You're pulled into your seat. You pushed in the direction that the force is coming from. Anything buoyant that's in the car while you do that, while you step on the gas pedal, is going to go the opposite direction. If you had a helium balloon in your car and you step on the gas pedal, you get pulled into your seat. The helium balloon goes towards the windshield. That's when I first realized that. I'm like, well, that's wild. That's trippy. But that's what happens when you add an acceleration to a reference frame. A density gradient forms immediately. Things organize in a specific way every time. And so, if you want to think that like there's a force at play that's creating our orientation here on Earth, and they say it's gravity, it's a fictitious force called gravity that's holding everything to the outside of this ball like a magnet. Like that's what we're supposed to believe. And yet, if we were to think about it, like we have a density gradient, like the more dense stuff is on the ground, and the more buoyant stuff, the helium balloon would go up in the sky. Like if you were to take the example of the car and turn it like that, where you're now like the front of the car is facing upwards, the force is coming from behind you, and the helium balloon's going upwards towards the windshield, which would be the sky, and you're pushed into your seat, which would be the ground. The force is coming from underneath you. You would get that same result. You get the density gradient that we experience currently, with the force coming from under you. You're not being pulled down. You're being pushed down, pushed into that's what the physics would normally be considered to be the case. It's called normal force, is what they call it in physics. The normal force is like the contact force of the ground. And they don't, like Einstein talked about this. There's this thing called the equivalency principle, where it's like, he explained that Earth could either be, the force is coming from under us, is pushing us up, like when we see things falling, they're not really falling, the ground is rising up to meet it, which seems fucking crazy. But how would you really know? There'd have to be some way to prove it one way or the other. It's like, they say that, well, we know that's not what's happening because the Earth is a ball. It couldn't be rising up if it was a ball, because it'd be rising up all over the whole Earth, and the Earth would blow up. That wouldn't work. And so the rising earthers, that's their reason for thinking the earth is flat, because they think that the physics of earth is showing that the force is coming from under us, pushing us up. But then you have to settle on the conclusion that the earth is accelerating up, and it's always been accelerating up through what? I don't know. And we're talking like the whole entire place, like the stars, everything is all inside one reference frame that's accelerating upwards, creating our orientation and the effect of gravity or whatever. And that's like a really hard one to swallow, really. But for me, that's just as hard to swallow as the heliocentric model, which really is kind of explaining physics in the reverse. I mean, when you add an acceleration to a reference frame, you get certain results every time. But we're supposed to think that in the instance of reality, our Earth, that we can explain it backwards. No, the acceleration is going down, not up. Well, that can be measured observably. We can say, look, that fell at 9.8 meters squared per second to the Earth. But then when you try to actually measure that with a tool called an accelerometer, it measures 0 while it's falling. It's showing that there's no acceleration. It's showing that it's at rest while it's falling or appearing to fall. And then when the accelerometer lands on the ground, it suddenly gives you a reading of an upward acceleration, because the contact force of the ground causes the weight in the accelerometer to push on the sensor that's on the bottom, giving it an upward reading. Any other time you move the accelerometer, it'll show you where the force is coming from, because you're pushing it and the weight is going to hit the sensor that's wherever the force is coming from. But when you set it on the ground, the weight of the sensor hits the bottom part and it shows an upwards acceleration. And I guess they just kind of explain that away. Well, we know Earth is a ball, so it can't be rising up. Well, do we know Earth is a ball? I mean, it just turns into this fucking clusterfuck mental head fuck, and it's like, should we even really be trying to explain reality to this point? I mean, we understand it, like we exist in it. I mean, maybe God made a reality that we'll never really fully be able to model. I mean, like, who do we think we are, anyways? God? Only God would really understand it. Or maybe we are just God, or maybe we're parts of God. That would seem to make sense, really. Like, if God is eternal consciousness, God would have to have created something for that eternal consciousness to not be utter maddening. Like, you'd have to create something. You'd have to create time and like have this reality where it's like it's a distraction from this eternity that we're like, if you can't, like, if there's no end, eternal consciousness, really, is that really what we want? I mean, with time, it gives meaning, like, it brings meaning to the moment. Like, without time, you don't have any meaning. It doesn't mean anything. You have to have time in order for things to mean anything. So that's probably why God did this, and maybe we're just, like, parts of God consciousness. We're just trying to figure out what is going on. How did this happen? How did we get here? And how it seems is that, there's been a long time that's been passing. We look at some of the stuff on the earth today. I mean, we can't explain some of the stuff that's been left behind by our ancestors, and there's been a lot of lies around all that. And there's just weird shit. Like, in my town, Los Gatos, here in California, there is what looks to be a 2-story brick building. It's an old building in town, and I read the history on it because it's interesting. It's old, and the story is about this guy that built a 2-story brick building and whatever. And I don't know, blah blah blah. But here's the thing: I can tell it's not just a 2-story building, because I looked in the gutter, and I can see the bricks go way below the street level, and I can even see windows below the street level, looking through the gutter drain. And there's 2 gutter drains, and I can see windows in both of them. The bricks go way below the street level. The history of that building says it's a two-story brick building. Who makes foundations out of bricks with windows in them? That story, that history on that building is wrong. It's not just a two-story. The bricks go below the street level for at least another floor. And the building across the street has a sunken courtyard with businesses that are like a floor below the street level. Who would design a fucking building like that? It looks like a newer building, but then I discovered behind the wood paneling, it's bricks. So it's actually an old building. There's a sunken courtyard. Why would you put businesses below street level? I want to go there and ask the businesses, do you guys have bathrooms? Do you have to pump all your waste up? Like, what is going on with this sunken? Why would you do that? Nobody would ever have dwellings below street level. That's not desirable. You got to pump all the wastewater out. I mean, unless you want to dig even further down and have it, I don't know. It's just not what you would want to do. I don't know. I just don't believe that they built that place with a sunken courtyard in the middle. I think that was just the old street level. Because the building across the street shows evidence that it goes below street level. So what the fuck is really going on? Why is there fake history written about this building? The history says it's a two-story building that he built. It doesn't make mention of anything about the bricks going another floor below the street level. So there's a fake story that's been inserted. I got to go find the blueprints on that building. I bet you they don't have them. I bet you they don't even have them. If they do, and it doesn't say there's a third floor, well, I can just go show people, look, these blueprints are fucking fraudulent because the bricks go below. I mean, it's easy. Anybody can go see. So it's like we have conflicting stories just within our own little area. Like, why is there fake history written about this building? Fuck. It's not a two-story building. The bricks go below the street level. A whole another floor at least. Nobody made a foundation out of bricks. If they did, they didn't put windows in it. They have like little arches over the windows and stuff. Nobody would do that, dude. That's not logic. And it's not what the history says about that building. So the history is wrong, apparently, and it can just be easily debunked by looking at the thing. I mean, it just shit blows me away. It's like, am I supposed to just think that I'm crazy or something? I mean, what? What the fuck, dude? I'm not crazy. I can go point at the thing that I'm talking about and just prove that the history of that building is a lie. It's that easy. You just have to go point at something. Look, see that building? Nobody puts windows in a foundation of bricks. Nobody makes foundations out of bricks. Nobody puts windows in a foundation. That's just obviously a fraudulent story about the two-story building that was built out of bricks. It's more than 2 stories, and there's a floor that goes below the street level. I want to go talk to the owners of the building and see if they even know about that. You would have to know about it. But maybe if nobody ever pointed it out to you and you never thought to look, maybe you wouldn't know. Yeah, it's not from sinking. It's not from sinking. No. Because the building's still perfectly level. I mean, nothing sinks perfectly like that, no. It's like, and there's no history of the street level being raised. I looked into all this. The history just tells it how it looks from the street level, but it's like, but the history doesn't bother looking in the gutter drains to see that there's another story that needs to be like addressed, which is so weird to me. I mean, I would think that somebody would have noticed that. I'm going to start talking about it though. I want to create a little buzz in our town because it's like when you have a lie that's being told to you as fact, I mean, I just think that it needs to be known. And if they don't have the blueprints, and if they do have the blueprints, then it should show a 3-story brick building. It should show those windows that are below the street level. So, whatever, we'll find out. I'm going to go look. Hey. Love you. Let's see if my phone got any more juice. Got a little bit of juice. No, I don't think bricks, that's not logical. And even if they were, they wouldn't put windows in it. That doesn't make sense. And the windows, I can show them to anybody that just has a flashlight and wants to look in the gutter drain with me. And you can see on the sidewalk that the bricks go below the street level. You can see where they actually cut into the brick building. to put the sidewalk in, but you can see past that. You can see where the bricks keep going. It's kind of hard to explain. Like basically, if you have a brick building in your town and it's an older brick building, go and look for those kind of things, because the only reason I thought to look was because I was watching videos about people showing the same kind of thing in their town, and it's like, I'm like, really? That's weird. And so I went and looked, and sure enough, I found it in my town too. I'm like, well, what the fuck? Why is there buildings that go below street level? Why is that a thing? That's fucking weird. That needs to be looked at. I mean, there's a whole buzz online about it, the mud flood. It's called the mud flood conspiracy, where it's believed that in the mid 1800s, or like, somewhere like a couple hundred years ago, there was like a global cataclysm that caused like a flood or whatever, where there's evidence of buildings buried worldwide. And this is not just a unique phenomenon to my town. This is like a worldwide phenomenon. People are noticing this everywhere. Basically, every single town, you're going to find buried buildings, and they're going to be explained as being not buried. Like you look into the history of these buildings, and they don't discuss the fact that there's a whole floor below the street level. Like in certain cities too, like in Chattanooga, it's like a urban myth. I mean, like there's a whole city under the city that's like abandoned. There's a whole other city underneath the city, and there is historical um, anecdotal history about having to raise the street level. But then when someone went and looked into the historical records of that street level raising, they found that there was no historical records that were made of that, which is odd. And old photographic evidence shows the street level as it is now, prior to when it was supposedly raised. So there's conflicting. So it's really just anecdotal, like bullshit, really, because there's no actual evidence that the streets were ever raised. It's just a story. When you would do something that big of a project, there'd be records of it, but there's none. It's just like it's in textbooks, but it's not in the historical records. So there's like this cover up going on. There's lies being told to us about our history, and you can go prove it just by looking. So, like, who's responsible for that? Why are they writing bullshit stories? Why don't they just tell us the real story? Why don't they say that it's a 3-story brick building that goes below the street level? We just don't know. We don't remember when all this mud got washed in here and why things are buried. I mean, there's tales of like orphans from back in the day. There's a ton of orphans back in the 1800s. Hundreds of thousands of them all over the place. They were getting sold to people. Like people were buying kids, familyless kids that had no idea where they came from. It was a thing. There's an orphan train. There's like orphans being sold everywhere, all over the country. There's like repopulating the place. Someone was telling me their great grandfather was an orphan, and his job as a teenager was to dig mud. He was unburying train tracks. They were digging train tracks out of the mud. That's what his job was as an orphan child. They put these kids to work in the factories, and so fucking our history is whack, dude. It's just whack. What's up, Dean? There was all these postcards back in the day, back in the 1800s, where it was like the Cabbage Patch Kids or whatever. There was like they were talking about selling kids. It was like this propaganda push where it was like making society okay with buying children. It's such a weird. That part of our history is just so awkward and uncomfortable, because I don't think that can be explained away very easily. Anyways, I got some shit I gotta do. All right, I love you guys. Thanks for listening to me babble.